My name is Lance Gartner. I ranch with my family southeast of Glen Ullin, about 6 miles. Right now we're out on one of our stockpiled forages pastures that we're stockpiling for winter grazing. We implemented winter grazing into our operation for the simple fact that I really do not like to make hay. I don't like to feed it out all winter. I don't like to haul manure. Early on, we started with an early season graze, and we wouldn't come back with the twice over. We'd wait with the twice over till winter. So we slowly switched that over to, we either stockpile it the whole year or we'll graze it before, say, June 10th. Anything after June 10th, we typically won't use in the wintertime unless we have a tremendous amount of regrowth. Our preferred method of feeding then is bale grazing. In the pasture that's behind me here is where we do a lot of our bale grazing. That was fields back up until the 1950s. And so that's our prime place that we set our bales for bale grazing. And we typically settled in for our operation, which works really well for us, is that 5 to 6 day worth of hay. We can go minimum of 3 days. We don't ever go anything less than 3 days because the cows always got to have enough bale space to eat off of. So the paddock we're on here now is a 200-acre paddock originally, and we would set out a bale grazing earlier than what so we just turn it in. It might be months earlier before we need it. But then after that bale grazing's gone, now we need to bring in new bales. And it was just, depending on deep snow or whatever, it just got to be too much. So we've been bale grazing on this paddock now for about 15 years. We've pretty much covered up most of the clay pans that are bare. We did not bale graze here last winter. We bale grazed 2 years ago. And there's still some litter from 2 years ago, but that's okay. It's covering the soil. Stuff is starting to grow into those clay pans where absolutely nothing was there before. So we're not concerned that the litter is still there. It is breaking down, it is turning into organic matter, and that's the key, is to get litter on the soil in this particular system. Early on in our grazing, winter grazing and bale grazing, we couldn't get, because of depth of snow, we couldn't get to the clay pan areas when we needed them, so we just set them on cool season grass areas. But even if you don't have clay pans, just setting that bale on some kind of a cool season forage will definitely increase the production and help you in the long run. One year we couldn't get to where we needed to, so we said, well, let's try bale grazing on native range. It was an interesting experiment, but we will not do that unless we absolutely are forced to do that again. And the reason being is just the influx of nitrogen. It just kind of messed up the composition of the plant species where the bales sat. So we try not to bale graze on native range, but we have enough cool season forages and enough cool season land that we can do that on. And especially this system with all the clay pan, we can definitely utilize that for many years to come. In our situation with the clay pan areas, everybody has good quality hay, everybody has poor quality hay. And with the bale grazing, I've seen them clean up 90-95% of a bale when it's good quality hay. On poor quality hay, they might clean up 55-60% at most. But as far as waste, there is no such thing as waste on this soil, because it's going to turn into soil organic matter and it's going to benefit the land. So what's the difference if you set a bale down and you have, say, the really poor bale and you have 40% of it left over that the cows don't eat and utilize, but it's becoming organic matter? Now that's already on the land where it needs to be. I don't have to haul the manure from the feedlot out there. And as far as bale utilization, again, we choose not to grind our hay, but you look at people who grind in the wintertime or bale process in the wintertime, there's always that fine dust going out there. That's all your leaves, that's all your nutrition. Here it's where the cows utilize it, it stays there. Whatever they don't utilize, it stays there right where it's needed. So advice to beginners in the bale grazing realm, you gotta come into it open-minded. I've seen people try it once or twice and it fails in their mind because they already had their mind made up before they tried it. And they only tried it out of necessity. I would say you got to come into it open-minded, look at your land, look at your resource and say, this is what I need in this particular spot. For someone to start bale grazing when they've never done it before or never seen it done before, it can be, they're afraid to waste hay. You gotta work past that point, and the best way to do that is talk to people who are already doing it. A great resource is the North Dakota Grazing Lands Coalition. Go on the website and look up under winter grazing and bale grazing options, and you'll find out which mentors are doing it, and contact them. Don't hesitate, because that's why they're mentors. They want to share their story. People help them so they didn't have to reinvent the wheel, and they're willing to help you so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. We've committed ourselves to bale grazing for 4 to 5 weeks of winter. If we can get by with 4 to 5 weeks, great. Typically, we use about a bale to a bale and a quarter, bale and a half per cow per year. We pushed the cows one winter to see how well they would do it. And they were grazing through 19 inches of snow. When you got a standing forage like this here, that snow, it'll lay it down, but they can go through that snow and they can come up with a mouthful of grass that's sticking out of their mouth like that. As long as there's something for them to go after, they can plow through snow. I mean, a cow can utilize this grass and harvest this grass a lot cheaper than we can by cutting and baling and hauling. So all the stockpiled forages you can graze throughout the winter, it's just dollars in your pocket. Even if you only extend your grazing season by 20, 25, 30 days, that's money in your pocket. If you can do it for an extra 3 months, that's huge. And we're in the house. If it's storming outside, we've literally seen it to where the cows, they'll duck in behind a butte. They'll fill their bellies before the storm hits and they'll duck in behind the butte for a day and a half, 2 days. And they know where the hay is at. They're not worried. As soon as the weather breaks, they're back out filling their bellies again. And they know where the hay is at. They're not worried. As soon as the weather breaks, they're back out filling their bellies again. So they're not concerned. And they're fine. They're not stressed. Dad used to start the tractor up every day at 8 o'clock in the morning, and whether it was blizzarding or not, them cows had to come out of their protection and come to the top of the hill where he fed and eat. And that was stressful on the animals. It was stressful on us. It is so much nicer to sit in the house and look out the window across the prairie and say, yep, the cows are grazing, or oh, they're at the bales today, and they're fine.